Welcome to the Magical Experiments podcast. Today I'm going to be talking about energy work as a state of being. So one of the things that I find fascinating in regards to this concept of energy work is really just this idea of working with energy and utilizing it to transform or create change in people's lives. With energy work, one of the things that we're really looking at is how to access our internal energy, but also energy around us. And we do this through different methodologies and practices. So for example, you have Reiki, you have Qigong, you have modern techniques such as Barbara Ann Brennan's techniques. You have the chakras, you have different systems, but all of these systems are all designed toward this idea of accessing the internal state of energy and then working with the energy around us. So for example, if I do pranayamic breathing, what I'm really doing is I'm using the pranayama to convert the energy around me in the air, the prana, into energy that works with my internal energy and basically helps to feed that. With Qigong and martial arts, it's the same idea. We're cultivating our internal energy. We're working with the different elemental ki of metal, wood, fire, water, earth. And we're using that to cultivate that internal ki, that internal energy. And we are using it to connect with the world around us. Why are we doing all this? Well, one reason is, of course, to maintain a certain state of health and even to cultivate that health, to cultivate a longer life. This is one of the reasons why, if you look at a lot of these practices, they're essentially designed to do deeper work with the internal energy of the person by converting the energy around them into energy that feeds that life force. And so this has gotten me thinking about it from the perspective of, instead of treating it as energy work, let's talk about it as energy being. And one of the reasons I think of it that way as well is because the word work is a very loaded word, right? And work is usually taking away from us, or we're putting work into something. Whereas energy being, the state of being, becomes something else altogether. And one of the things that we really want to look at in our practice is, how do we cultivate a state of being from which we can operate from that actually changes our relationship with the world around us. The world around us is going to respond in certain ways. And those ways might be supportive. Those ways might not be so supportive. I mean, that's kind of life, but how we respond creates part of that experience. And one of the things that I like to look at when I'm looking at energy work is, how am I drawing upon the energy of my own life force, like in multiple different ways? And I'm not even talking about just Qigong or Reiki or anything like that. I'm really talking about it like even in the form of attention. Where's the energy of my attention going? Where's my presence going? What is happening? Why am I moving in certain directions or not moving in certain directions, as the case may be, in my life? When I look at energy work, I think of it from that perspective of, where are my emotions going? Where's my attention going? Where's the intent going? And then, where is the internal ki going? Where's that feeling of life force going? That feeling of life force is so vital and powerful. It transforms the way we look and experience and embody the world around us and ourselves and our place in it. So one of the things that I like to look at with energy work is really, how do I cultivate energy in a way where I'm using less of my energy and more of what's around me? Because the more I can use of what's around me, as opposed to using my own life force, the better off I can be. And I learned this lesson early on with my magical practice. There was a point in time when I was like 18 years old and was dating somebody at the time, and her best friend was going through some kind of surgery, and I did the rash, impulsive thing that I think most people do at that age, where it's like, I can figure out how to save the day. In my case, I did a magical ritual to the earth where I was like, I will give some of my life force energy or some of my energy, so that this person can heal. It worked. He had I guess he'd had like a tumorous growth on his spine, and that basically ended up shrinking and going away. They didn't have to operate on it. But I felt like shit the next day because I was so tired and not feeling good. And for a while afterwards, I didn't feel so good because what I had done is I'd essentially scooped out a portion of my energy, my life force, in order to make that work. It taught me a really valuable lesson, which is that you don't want to just if you're going to do healing for somebody, you want to make sure you're drawing on the energy around you as opposed to drawing on your own energy. And I became a lot more careful after that experience because I realized that I had a finite amount of energy and I didn't know if it would get replaced. It did eventually, thanks to the various practices that I learned. But it taught me a really important lesson around that kind of work, that you don't want to just do energy practices without fully considering what you're doing and what the impact is. So a lot of the way that I approach energy work is from that state of being. And my question is always like, well, what is the state of being that I'm trying to achieve here? And can that state of being be achieved by working with what's around me as opposed to what's within me? And you can even apply this to magic overall. If we're drawing upon our own energies all the time, instead of the energies that are around us, we are essentially taking away from life force that is absolutely vital to who and what we are. We need that life force. It is a representation and an expression of who we are, and yet we're giving it away. We never really want to be giving that kind of vitality away, because when we're giving that vitality away, we are giving away, the key component of ourselves. So we want to learn to collaborate and create a different relationship with the energy within ourselves, where we're learning to draw upon that energy around us, and where we're creating very specific structures and practices that actually help us cultivate that energy, or help us access other forms of energy, other states of being that aren't our own, and can still enable us to get the results that we're looking for. And this is a huge part of the magical work that I do in general, and not just with energy work, but just magic in general. One of the things that I like to look at is like, what is already around me that is doing something that I can basically take what it's doing and redirect it just a little bit, and I'll still get what I want. If I can take what's around me and apply it that way, then that creates a better result for me. It creates a better result for other people. It generates an overall experience and state of flow and being that shapes the world around me and shapes myself as well, of course. But it does it in a manner where it's not drawing upon everything that I have to get there. So if you're finding yourself doing energy work, definitely you want to look at some of the practices that you're using and cultivating, but you also want to consider like, what direction is that energy going in? Is it going towards yourself? Is it going outward? Are you drawing upon your own essential life energy, or are you drawing upon, something else to help fuel that working? Now, a resource that I have available for you that might be helpful is a class called Mastering Energy Work, where I talk about how to create specific types of energetic structures that allow you to draw upon like energy batteries and other techniques and concepts. So if you're interested in that, check that out below. I'm offering that class at a discount for the next couple of days, and that'll give you an opportunity to experience like how energy work can be used and practiced without necessarily having it take up too much of your own life force. Instead, what you're doing is you're learning how to create very specific structures that you use to shape and cultivate your energy And at the same time, those structures work to take the surrounding energy and apply it toward whatever goals or results you're shooting for in your magical workings that you're doing.